So chapter 10 doesn't have a play, it has a myth. So if you go ahead and turn to page 284, I have the pages up here for you, but the pictures in your book are in color. So we're going to read this. It's a little bit different, but kind of fun. Okay. So, hace miles de años vivía en el Ecuador Pacha con sus 3 hijos y las esposas de ellos. Pacha era un gran guerrero, orgulloso de sus victorias. So it's thousands of years ago, Pacha lived in Ecuador with his 3 sons and their wives. Pacha was a grand or great warrior. He's very proud of his victories. Okay, we had this word. Anyway, it means proud. I think it's just a fun one. If you go on to the second section here, this picture is kind of terrifying in the color. This is a giant snake. Wouldn't you like to encounter that? Un día en que había mucha niebla, Pacha y sus hijos caminaban por la selva cuando vieron una enorme serpiente. Los hombres la atacaron y lucharon ferozmente, pero solo pudieron herir a la serpiente, que abrió la boca y empezó a vomitar agua. Oh, it's so disgusting. But one day there was a lot of fog. Pacha and his children were walking through the jungle when they saw an enormous snake. The men attacked and fought fiercely, but they could only injure, that word can mean hurt or wound the serpent, and it opened its mouth and started to vomit water. I guess that's better than some things it could vomit, but still pretty disgusting, right? Having a giant snake throwing water up on you. Okay. El agua no dejaba de subir. Entonces Pacha, sus hijos y las esposas de ellos fueron a la cumbre del Pinchicha, que era el único lugar donde el agua no llegaba. Los días pasaban. Pacha y sus hijos solos en la montaña, con hambre y frío, estaban tan tristes que ya no se hablaban. Lo siento. So the water wouldn't stop coming. Then Pacha and his children and their wives went to the summit of Pinchicha, this mountain. It was the only place where the water had not reached. Okay. The days passed. Pacha and his son were alone on the mountain. They were hungry and cold, and they're very sad. And they weren't talking to each other. That's how sad they were. You should be noticing that this sounds kind of like some other myths you might have heard. We'll talk about that when we get to the end. Una tarde Pacha vio un cuervo con una rama en el pico. Pacha comprendió la señal. En silencio comenzó a bajar y todos los siguieron. Así fue que llegaron a donde hoy está la ciudad de Quito. So, one afternoon Pacha saw a raven with a branch at the peak. Pacha understood the signal. In silence he started to go down, and they all followed. That's when they arrived where they're at the city of Quito. So they go down the mountain, they're going to be at the city of Quito. Pacha le gustó ese lugar y pensó hacer una gran casa para todos. Pero cuando trató de contar su idea, nadie lo comprendía, ya que después de tanto tiempo todos sus hijos hablaban de forma diferente. So Pacha liked this place, that place, and thought he would build a big house for them all. But when he tried to tell everyone his idea, nobody understood it. And already sometime all of the children had been learning to talk in different ways. So basically they're talking and nobody's understanding. Pacha quedó muy triste y sus hijos y las esposas de ellos se fueron, pero no se fueron muy lejos. A ellos también les gusta el lugar y construyeron sus casas cerca. Allí nacieron los descendientes de los hijos de Pacha, que aprendieron los idiomas de sus padres. De esta manera dieron origen a los diferentes idiomas indígenas que se hablaban en el Ecuador cuando llegaron los europeos. Okay? So Paco felt really sad. His children and their wives all left, but they didn't go very far. Okay? And they all liked the place, and they built their houses near. There their descendants were born. Paco's children and their descendants, they were born. And they learned the languages of their parents. In this manner, it is said the origin of the different languages, different indigenous languages that are spoken in Ecuador, this is how they arrived. Okay? And this is how they started. And when the Europeans came, they mentioned there at the end, the Europeans came, and that's how all the different languages have started. So you should be noticing this carries a lot of similarities to some other myths that you might have heard. And it's very interesting when you study mythology how a lot of the different cultures have very similar types of stories. So it may remind you of a flood story or Tower of Babel. So it's really kind of fascinating how different cultures have all these kind of similar type stories, but little different twists, like the snake vomiting water. But it's really kind of fun. All right, if you go ahead and look on page 287 here at the questions. Section 1 asks us, pon las oraciones en orden según la fotonovela. So it asks you put these sentences in order. So all you have to do is put number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 through 8. You put those letters in alphabetical order. Okay. Hopefully you won't have too much trouble with it. It's pretty. Well, I'll go ahead and read them to you. Letter A is nadie le comprendió a Pacha porque todos hablaban idiomas distintos. So nobody understood Pacha because they all spoke different or distinct languages. Letra B, un día Pacha vio un cuervo con una rama en el pico. That's where he saw the raven. Letra C, la serpiente vomitó agua. So serpent threw up water. Letra D, Pacha y su familia fueron a la cumbre de Pinicha. So that's when they fled to the summit of the mountain. Letra A, de repente vieron una serpiente enorme. Suddenly they saw an enormous serpent. Pacha y sus hijos pasaban hambre y no se hablan. So they were very hungry and they weren't speaking. Letra Hey, un día Pacha y su familia caminaban por la selva. So one day Pacha and his family were walking in the jungle. And letra H, bajo el agua y Pacha y su familia se bajaron de la cumbre. So, after the water left, Pacha and his family went down the summit. Okay, so see if you can put those in order. Second section, comprendes la fotonovela. Describe a la familia de Pacha. ¿Cuántos hijos tenía? So, describe the family of Pacha. How many children did he have? Okay. So you should be writing a sentence something like Pacha tenía, how many did he have? 3 hijos. And then they are married, so you might put casados. Número 2, ¿dónde estaban cuando vieron la serpiente? So where were they when they saw the serpent? So you might say están en la selva, right? They were in the jungle. ¿Cómo empezó la inundación? So how did the flood start? We might say something like la serpiente empezó a vomitar agua. Número 4. ¿Dónde se escondieron Pacha y su familia? So, where did they hide? Where did they hide with their family? And you would say, se escondieron en la montaña. So they hid on the mountain. ¿Qué es Pinicha? So where is it? The península está en el Ecuador, right? En Ecuador. Número 6. ¿Por qué no comprendieron la idea de Pacha de construir una casa para todos? Why didn't they understand his idea to build a house for everyone? So it'd say, hablaban distintos idiomas, so they spoke different languages. ¿Cuál fue el resultado de la catástrofe? So what was the result of the catastrophe? So we have in Ecuador, se hablaban muchos idiomas diferentes. Okay, so in Ecuador they speak a lot of languages. Okay, and if you can't get that all in Spanish, just try to answer them in English. Okay, I know that's kind of a lot, so just try to answer those in English if you can't get it all in Spanish. Okay. Alright, so let's look at section 3. Busca pareja, find a match. Con base en la fotonovela, cambia los siguientes elementos para formar oraciones completas. Okay, so you should be putting numbers 1 through 7 on your paper, and then putting a letter next to it. Okay, so number 1 is Pacha, number 2, la serpiente, 3, los hombres, 4, Pacha y su familia, 5, cuando comienza a bajar el agua, número 6, los hijos de Pacha, número 7, los descendientes de Pacha. Okay, letra A, hablaban diferentes idiomas, so they speak different languages. Vieron un cuervo con una rama en el pico, so they saw a raven with a branch at the peak. Letra C, era un guerrero orgulloso, so he was a very proud warrior. Letra D, aprendieron los idiomas de sus padres. They understood the languages of their parents. Letra E, subieron a la cumbre de Pinchicha. So they're talking there about the mountain. And then letra E, empezó a vomitar agua, so it started to throw up water. And then the last one, lucharon ferozmente contra la serpiente. So they fought fiercely with the serpent. Okay? Alright. Let's look at Sección 4, Section 4. Mira los dibujos de la leyenda. Ponte con un compañero o una compañera para encontrar la reacción en la fotonovela que describe el evento de cada dibujo. Okay? So why don't you just pick one and see if you can write a Spanish sentence about what is happening in the picture. Okay? Just pick one, see if you can write a Spanish sentence about it. Go ahead and look back in the fotonovela and you should be able to find one. Okay? Alright, and then you can answer this question in English, but says, ¿conoces otra cuenta similar a esta leyenda? ¿Cuáles son los elementos o conceptos que los dos cuentos tienen en común? ¿Por qué crees que existen cuentos similares en diferentes culturas? So do you know another story that's similar to this reading? Which of the elements or concepts of the two stories, what do they have in common? Why did the similar stories exist in different cultures? So those are just kind of opinion questions. Okay, I know this is going to be kind of hard to do by yourself, but I know you can do it. If you have questions, be sure to email me, and just try your best, okay? But it's a fun little myth and an interesting little story here.